Hello again. The position in front of us sets the solver the task of coming up with a checkmate in 3 moves. Now, we have our old friend Hofmann back with us once again, so there is a clue in that. But of course we need to find the key move before we can implement it. So, what is the key move here? And with the key move, what are we trying to do? Remember, with a Hofmann there is no threat, because once you play your key move, if black could forego moving, it will be safe. But because it can't forego moving, it effectively then commits suicide and has to play along with your idea. So what would you say you would like to be able to do here? Does anything jump out at you? Well, something jumped out at me. What I noticed is that if I could, with this bishop, take this pawn, and he took back with the king, it would be queen f6 mate. But of course, as things stand, even if you can manage to take this pawn, he's not forced to take with the king. He could take with the knight, and moreover this pawn then would no longer be protected once he takes here, so you could always go this way. So allowing for the fact that there are problems with that at the moment, but also recognizing that it does have merit, let's go for it. And that's what I did, and I solved it reasonably quickly. And this is a problem that achieved first prize, so that was very nice indeed. So there are 2 moves here, and they are both with this bishop that will set us on the route of the idea, at least, of playing bishop takes e5. Well, the first one is bishop g7. Now that doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is that it allows the king too much latitude here. We need more protection this way. So yes, the key move is bishop d6, and that is the move on which I placed reliance to give me the solution to this problem. So how does black respond to this? Well, he is now in Hofmann, that's the point. If he could forego moving, he'd be safe. And the reason that this doesn't work even on the next move is that, like I've just said, the knight could take it and spoil everything. And at the moment, at least, no matter what white threatens with his knight, for instance, just to give you some idea of this, let's just pluck an example here. Supposing he were to bring his knight here. Why would that not work? What is he trying to do? Well, he's wanting to play queen c4 checkmate. So how is the only way that black can defend against it? That's right. He has to play his knight to here to stop it. Agreed? So that doesn't work at the moment. So what we're wanting to do here, let's just put this back. We played bishop d6. Is we're wanting black to move his knight so that we can employ this and checkmate him. Or we're wanting him to move his bishop so that he will self-block key squares for the knight to prevent either mate with the queen or mate with the knight. So the king cannot legally move, the pawns can't. So it's down to the knight and the bishop. Well, let's tackle the knight moves first. Let's tackle this one in isolation to all of the others. So we now know what we do, don't we? He's moved the knight. So we take the pawn here. And what does black have in response to that? Well, he's blocking his flight square here, so he has to take the bishop. And then we play there, and as already identified, that is checkmate. So let's pop that back. Okay, we've played bishop d6 and we've tried knight there. Let's try knight anywhere other than here. Let's just go here. What do we do then? Right, well, we play the same. And as identified, if he takes it, it's queen f5 mate. So he only has one move, and that is to come here. Now we've 2 ways that we can finish this game off. We can either play here, and that is checkmate. Or we can play to here, and that is equally checkmate. Let's just put this back for a moment. Okay, that's after bishop d6. Bishop d6, right. And I did say we've tried knight c5, any knight move other than to here. Why should this make a difference? Well, this makes a difference because when you take here, again taking here queen f6, so he takes here. Now this right enough is checkmate. But you mustn't think that this is, because of course now he can interpose, and that's the only difference. So that's all the knight moves out the way. He is completely beaten within the 3 moves criteria, no question about that. Right, so again after bishop d6, black only has moves with the bishop, and they are as follows. Now go here. So what do we do? Well, you may recall I mentioned, we must get this right, the queen is on a6. I did mention that he needs the square for his knight. That's right, you play here, and you notice he can't play knight to b2 to stop queen c4 mate. So no matter what he does on the next move, it's queen c4. That's bishop move number 1. Let's take it one more square and play to here. So how do we handle this? Well, this is still with this knight. It's a bit different. And what we're doing here is we're threatening knight e2. Now, if the bishop weren't here, he could play knight c1 and stop it. But as it is, there is no defense on the next move to that. And that is checkmate. So we've tried bishop b2 and we've tried bishop c1, and neither of those is of any use. What about bishop b4? Why is he self-blocking here? What is the problem with this? Where does white's knight go to expose it? Okay, well what we do here is we play knight e7. And what we're threatening here is knight c6 mate. Now if this bishop weren't here, he could have played the knight to here. There's no resource to it. It doesn't matter what he does on the next move. It is that. Quite simply that. There's no way out for him. And the final move, in case anyone is wondering what happens when the bishop takes the pawn, well, let's have a look at it. We better put this, we'll just start with the original position again after bishop d6, which is that. So he takes the pawn. And what do we do now? Well, for the final time, we play the knight, but this time it's to here. And then no matter what black does, let's just say he wants to take this bishop off, removing the white protection of c5. Not a problem, because it's knight e6. And again, you see, if the bishop hadn't been on that square, then of course the knight could have come in here and stopped knight e6, whereas as it is, there's no way out. What an excellent problem from Hofmann, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye for now.